Okay, so we are live. We're going short today because just before we went live, I got a message to go do last rites. So I'm gonna have to. I can only go for about 45 minutes because I'm gonna have to head out to again do the last rites for Parishioner.
Understood.
So good to see you guys.
Same.
Good to see you too.
You two gents.
So Justin was telling me he just got a box of comics I might be interested in.
Oh, I have several boxes.
Oh, but too bad I live in nearby and you don't.
Actually, yeah, that and it's funny, Father Apple, because he came from Clinton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his adoptive type uncle passed away. Very sad, and the house had like 18 cats in it, and the comics were kind of locked away. But there is some environmental conditions. Hi, PJ, with the books. So I'm going through those, but he had a lot of Lois Lanes, a lot of Jimmy Olsen's, Superman, Fantastic Four #2, Batman 99 through 109. Like, so there's some really, really important issues. He also had a bunch of the Warner Brothers, but it looks like it's the old, like, 4-color stuff. So I have a friend who's into that who might help us out with that. And then he's got more boxes coming. He could only fit 4 long boxes in his car. But
So you got 4 long boxes. Was that today?
all 1960s. Yeah, it was his. So there's more boxes now. Great, they're not in the greatest condition because they never are, but there are some that are like, wow, these are a lot better than I would have expected. So I mean, like Batman 100 books out at like $1,100 mint condition, but it's like, you know, $300 or $400 in poor condition. So it's, you know, it's like that's an example of why we still like. He's like, I threw some of the Batmans away. I'm like, would you please go in your trash can, dig those out, and put them back in the box, and then bring them to me?
Yeah.
So I need to go. I need to
bring up my
check what
favorite
comics I've got.
Yeah.
Trying to find my favorite Lois Lane comic.
And I gotta excuse my condition today. I'm a little bit of pain. Just to throw some more comic talk out there, I like to keep an eye out for new hot artists. This is an artist called Ivan Talavera, or Ivan Talavera, and this book comes out next week. And it's
sorry, were you saying something?
Can you hear me?
Were you saying something, Justin? I don't know why. I just for some
Uno,
reason, I was
dos, tres.
distracted for a second there.
Cuatro, cinco, seis. Can you hear me?
I could hear you.
Give me like 2 more seconds to hold it up again.
Yes.
All right, so that's Ivan Talavera. He's doing work. You can find some exclusives online, but these are he's fresh, I think, to the world. And then I also decided to start. I was looking for great TV shows because you know how we've had this drought of anything worth watching anymore. And I started watching Invincible on Prime. And if you don't mind the gore of it and the more mature nature of it, which it is, but it's not over the line. It's very well done.
Season. I just never watched the second. I heard the second was so. I heard the third is good.
Well,
yeah,
I caught up. I caught up.
Episode.
The last one of the newest episodes was last night. I can't stop watching. I'm obsessed. And so I picked up the Slipcase Volume 1 that I will be reading the series now.
Oh, cool.
This is Lois Lane number 81, which I have.
Which he tries to kill Lois.
And I love it because, again, look at Superman's face as he is snapping Lois's air hose. And Lois is basically saying he is killing her because he won't marry her.
Oh, no, because she won't marry him.
Yeah.
How mean.
So I was out at the thrift stores today and I got some stuff for the presser, Justin.
Oh, did you?
Oh, let me bring that up. Hold on.
Oh, very nice.
It's a little racy, though.
That's okay. She's
I
obviously
think it's an Art Adams cover.
It's hard to acquire clothing in that world when you're being chased by giant monsters.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is that a tree or is that a monster she's on? A giant slug she's on?
That's a tree.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's a tree with a triceratops.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Yeah. I see now. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I gotta show what I picked up at the store.
Hold on, wait. I got a bunch of 25-cent books too.
Oh, very nice.
Really cool Man-Thing, Captain America, and Falcon.
Oh, nice.
The way it should be.
And I love these old Young Love books. I think they're hilarious.
You know, I had a comic collection that had a book, the Young Love book. I think it was Young Love or something else, but it was the opening story was a woman getting mad at her husband because he was having a problem. He was having a problem with her boyfriend that she had. So it was a swingers era book.
There's a lot of those, yeah.
Oh, how 2025 of you.
So that was Batman
no.
Beyond #1. And then I found a couple of these alternate covers, but I don't know if they're worth anything. They were a few bucks.
Oh yeah, I got that one. The Cello.
Is that Batman comic? Is that what that
Yeah,
is?
that's the new. That was the new Batman. Was it 135 when they started over with
Okay.
once Jimenez left the run, or Jimenez, sorry.
And how about Gwen Stacy? Is that worth anything?
So Greg Land took that image you have right there, and I think he did it digitally because he repurposed it into every single Spider-Man character as a Gwen character, and he kept using the image over and over and over again. So there's a whole litany of those covers. Actually.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're worth anything, but I mean they're Greg Land. They're nice.
That's an X-Men variant, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And
You got those in Clinton?
That was Masked Marvel backup story. And this is the Batman Joker reverse
That
cover.
looks
I
like
thought that
a
was kinda
Terry
neat.
Dodson cover.
Yeah, I like that one. But
That's
they were
my
just a few
favorite.
bucks.
That's my favorite Batgirl. My favorite Batgirl is the gray, blue, and pokey ear headpiece that she wears.
Yeah, it looks good. So yeah, I grabbed those today. So
I'll just show. I picked up. Let me bring up my own camera. So at the source, I picked
that's
up
great.
this from 1958, and it's the Iowa TV Guide listings.
cool.
Who is
I
it?
mean, I also
Who is that on the
picked up
cover?
Tennessee Ernest Ford.
Oh, that's Tennessee. Yeah,
Ah.
Ernie Ford. Okay.
Yeah,
You first brought that up just for a second. I thought
let me
it was
show
Hogan's
these
Heroes.
two.
I've been looking for the TV guides that have the Frank Rosetta covers. I've never
even-
seen them, but I know
Even
they're
I
out there.
recognise Dr. Kildare when I see him.
I didn't know Frazetta had any TV guide covers. That's amazing.
Yeah, he did
Oh,
like
I
3 or 4 of them. It was for Battlestar Galactica.
Here.
Oh well, that tracks.
Mhm.
Some sci-fi
Oh, that's
stuff.
a cool one.
Yeah.
Kirk vs. Picard. Yeah.
So yeah, I got that last week when I was, no, actually earlier this week. I was in town on Monday. So
How about you, Archer Colin? Anything cool?
Not really. I don't really collect comics or anything these days. I did a very long time ago. I remember when I was at primary. Well, I think I was at primary school or elementary. I think you'd call, or I just left. And so this would have been in the 60s or the early 70s. On that old. And I remember going along to the school fair we used to have. We used to have school fairs, and I remember buying a load of old comics then. Because we never used to, we didn't actually have comic stores per se, certainly nowhere near where I lived. And what it used to get, you'd get a random supply at your local newsagents.
Okay.
And I remember going on, even when I was working, so it was into the 80s, if not once in the 90s, was going around and going around a lunch break or something to local news agents and the rest of it to see if they got anything I wanted. I remember the biggest one I remember is getting, I think I've said this one before, I got a comic where Superman, possibly the first time Superman died. It wasn't the Dark Side one or anything. He died and he was dead. I mean, he was dead even to the point to the fact that his organs have been donated. And I didn't manage to get.
Wow.
Yeah, no. But they done it, and he dead, and he donated his organs. Someone got his eyes and all this sort of thing. As I remember, I mean, this was a very long time ago.
Kryptonite Blade to get them open.
Possibly, I genuinely don't remember what the story was, but I know the story was he died and he wasn't a trigger or anything. He was dead, and he donated his organs for organ replacement, etc., etc. And then I didn't get the next comic, so I still don't know what happened. But the one after that, of course, he's back alive again. But it was definitely, as far as I'm aware, it definitely wasn't supposed to be yeah, he was only mostly dead. It wasn't supposed to be, as far as I can remember, it wasn't supposed to be a what if or
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, that's it. Yep.
That's the one?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
I'm pretty certain that's the one, but I don't think I got 190.
I think it's what they
it's
call
189.
Yeah.
So 189. I don't think I got the next one, which presumably said explain what had happened and how he came back. Well,
Let me see if I show you the one I do have.
I actually, I started a hobby this weekend. I dipped a toe in the pool, and I never should have.
Oh,
Oh, you're doing Pokemon now?
No, I sold them when I was younger, and I had my store, and I didn't care anymore. But I went to a show, and I was not expecting to see these available, so I started picking up 3 3/4-inch O-ring GI Joes again.
Nice.
oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah, they look awesome. The paint is incredible. I mean, dealers never have good ones, and there were 6 dealers there that all had mint condition looking GI Joe O-ring figures. I'm like, okay, this is too easy, and I had money saved up for a con that I'm going to. So
What are they called? O-ring figures? Did you say
because
O-ring?
the entire figure is held together with a plumber's gasket, like a rubber
right.
O-rings.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it
yeah.
hooks around. There's a post there because the way it's assembled is the arms and the head go into like joints on the torso, and
Yeah.
that's held together with a screw. Well, the O-ring goes around the post inside the torso, and then it goes down and hooks to a little joint that holds the legs in. So the whole thing is kind of elasticy and it bends real well when you're
right,
playing with it.
wow.
Yeah, it was ingenious figure design because they came out in 1982 and they were trying to do something better than Star Wars did, and it was an excellent design for a figure. And that's what I grew up with. That was my entire childhood, was the GI Joe, a real American hero. I'm gonna get it.
So they literally O-rings. I know what an O-ring is. I wonder what those things are. It's literally
Yeah,
called
not that O-ring.
No, the O-ring as in the gasket.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
So,
literally, you know,
Justin might be able to explain this. One of the omnibuses I want to eventually buy is The World's Finest, which is up on the screen. The first volume's maybe like $70-$80. The second volume is selling for at least $150-$200.
Did we talk about this last week? That it was no longer.
No, that was like Superman. We talked about Superman, the Golden Age #6, I think it was.
Okay. Trying to figure my mic out. Oh, there we go. I think I sound.
What happened to Father Apple?
I don't
Rapture?
know. He's gone. He's gone.
There he
dark.
is.
There he is. There he is. I see him.
He's mute.
Yeah, sorry.
We can hear you.
I was going to say it's an example of Helen Keller. Deaf and mute.
We got to drag Helen Keller into the mess for. What do you got against Helen?
Wait, Father Miller, didn't we have something to talk about today?
Well, I was going to mention Star Wars or Star Trek books because I picked up a few recently.
It's
I've got
amazing
some
how
cool
many
covers.
there are, right?
Oh yeah.
And until a few years ago, I was genuinely not sure which was the larger.
Let me see if I can bring up.
It was
Um,
Doctor Who, Star Trek, or Star Wars, because they each
Yeah,
got quite large expanded things. Doctor Who's got the more canon, if you will, simply because it's a TV show that's been going on for a lot longer than Star Trek has. But I generally still don't know which. I suspect Star Wars has probably got the most now. I don't know.
there we go. So I'm looking at a fan page. I think there's at least 98 novels.
Oh, a lot of novels. Yeah, that's for sure.
And I remember reading a few of them as a kid.
Yeah, I remember a few of them. Because there's the original. I know you said on your post you're limited to Star Trek ones, but you've also got Next Gen, DS9, etc. But there's also at least there are several. What would you call them? Original series. Like there's one about the Star Trek Corps of Engineers and things like this. There's a trilogy, I think, which explains or gives one explanation for where the Borg come from. Things like this. But there's a heck
Be
of a
right
lot
back.
out
Need to
there.
get some more bags and boards. Hold on.
Here's if I can get these two off the screen. There it is. I remember reading this one as a kid.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Father Apple, didn't we give you a bunch of novels a while back that we got from a collection?
He's gone into Helen Keller mode. This is what it's like to be Helen Keller. Oh, there it is.
Oh, dragging Helen Keller through the mud today.
Again.
Have you moved away from your mic, Justin?
I am moving around the room, grabbing cool stuff to show you.
But I'll
That
show
could-
you.
that can explain.
I'm back. Well, we were talking Star Trek, so I wanted to show something. There's I can't remember his name right now because I don't have it in front of me, but it's a Japanese artist, I believe. And he did a variant cover for I just love this guy's stuff. It shows very well. And then I picked these up when they relaunched the series. I don't know who the artist is, but I really like these old sci-fi looking.
Yeah, those are really great.
I think I gave you, Justin, didn't I trade in my Star Trek Year 5 with you?
Oh, I don't know. You brought me a box of books a long time ago. I think they most of them just ended up in the dollar box.
I mean, I was basically collecting the Year 5 from IDW and it just wasn't good.
Hey, well, Justin, aren't you going to C2E2 and get a Timothy Zahn signature?
Yes, I have my anniversary hardcover on the way from Penguin Random House. I was trying to get a vintage one, but every time I looked at the vintage ones, I think the original book was a soft cover. I don't think they had a hardcover originally. So I wanted something that showed real nice. So I have that coming. But yeah, Timothy Zahn going to be there, and the great Jim Butcher is the reason I'm going because I am. Yeah, I could talk all day about the Dresden Files. I'm on my 10th listening right now, and I'm on like 4th book to the end. So I should hopefully finish the series on the way to Chicago in April.
Am I risking irritation by asking if you saw the TV series?
I did. I actually watched it when I heard there was one.
Oh, what did you think of it?
It's okay. So the problem with that series is it was not up to par technologically wise to really just like, okay, it was that Buffy era, and special effects were just starting to make their way into television as, you know, they became cool.
Oh, it wasn't the skull.
Yeah, right, exactly. And his series was made even more popular by James Marsters, who was Spike on Buffy. He reads the books.
Oh, does he? Wow.
He's phenomenal. I mean, absolutely. I don't enjoy any other real audiobook, but when he's talking, I feel like Harry, the main character, is telling the story. And he's really
James
good.
Marsters did the voice recording for the audiobook?
Yeah, he does all the books. In fact, one year he did not do like the second or third book, and the fans lost their minds, and they had to go in and re-record the book with him. And then he's been at shows. He's been at shows with Jim Butcher where he's like, as long as he keeps writing books, I will keep reading them to you. And I've got one of the books. I saw him. He came to C2E2. I think it was 2 years ago for a Buffy thing. And I said, I'm the only one in line holding the Dresden File book, like, it's not my book. And yeah, I mean, I can't recommend something enough. If you want to recommend, you know, and from a dad perspective, if you want to recommend a series of books where the main character is the kind of person you would like your son to grow up to be, same type of values. I mean, the fact that in the third book they introduced Michael, who is one of the Knights of the Cross or the Sword, where in that story the 3 nails from the crucifixion have been worked into swords, and you find out later in the series that Michael's sword might actually be Excalibur, because they've been reworked over the years. And his character is such a moral compass for Harry. I mean, you want to talk about the ideal God-fearing, God-loving Catholic, you know, his family. It is a perfect example of how to live your life.
And then his daughter comes along. And,
I'm going to introduce you to one that I got hooked on by Larry Correia, The Adventures of Tom Stranger, read by Adam Baldwin.
Wow.
Oh,
and I just wanted to play a clip of that.
Yeah, please.
Ask a call center of its rightful intern. Tom would never steal from another insurance company in such a disrespectful manner. Jimmy continued trying to make awkward conversation. So, dude, like all that Krav kickboxing Taibo back there, you look all normal, like mild-mannered and stuff.
That wasn't
but
the
then
part I was looking for, but
yeah, it's hard to find the audio, isn't it, when you're looking for a great example? Like, I can play a little bit of mine too, but I don't know where.
Here we go. Let's try this.
They'll salute, but it is difficult with their stubby little arms. Tom Stranger falls out of the sky and lands crouched in the middle of the Nazi dinosaurs. They turn to look at him, surprised. Tom Stranger reaches both hands into his suit coat and comes out with an advanced Korea Tech Combat Wombat pistol in each hand. A Tyrannosaurus with a little mustache roars, but then Hitlersaurus Rex explodes in a shower of blood and meat chunks as a 3mm hypervelocity round strikes it at more than 50,000 feet per second.
Hitlersaurus
Voiceover.
Rex?
Rated number
that's
1
good.
in consumer service 3 years running, Tom Stranger is here to help. Exterior shot, Paris.
Turn off pedantry that the 3mm shell wouldn't explode, it would go straight through, but
I can play a couple seconds of what it sounds like when James Marsters is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should come through nice and clear.
Around 7:30, Asher and I were unfashionably early. I'm going to be right down here on the street, Karen said from the front seat of the black town car Nicodemus had provided. She had checked it for explosives. I'd gone over it for less physical dangers. Not sure how long it will take, I said. Cop's going to let you loiter? I still know a few guys on the force, she said, but I'll circle the block if I have to.
Must be one of the
If you
later
get in
ones.
trouble, send up a flare. She offered me a plastic box with a boutonniere made from a sunset-colored rose in it.
So he's getting ready to go to some big event and find somebody.
Mm.
But I mean, there's more exciting parts. But yeah, the way he handles the dialogue and the pace. At some points, I've actually sped it because you can speed up your audibles and they can go a little faster.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I've done that when I just want to get through certain parts. Like there's one book where he dies for 5 years. They go without a sequel and he's dead. And then they do a book called Ghost Story, which if you've done the novels enough, it's like one of those things where I know what happens. I know he's not dead. So do I really need to listen to this story where they figure out whether or not he's dead? He's not dead.
Tell you the one that's really good if you're up for it is the complete stories of Sherlock Holmes read by Stephen Fry.
Did you hear that they're doing a new audible performance of The Lord of the Rings? They've announced.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's weird. It's weird listening to that one because I only know James Masters from Buffy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe no. I apologize. I think it's Harry Potter. It's not Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that I don't care.
And it's yeah,
I know-
Harry Potter.
I know.
series is
I
getting
know.
an
I know
audible
they're
treatment.
doing. I know they're doing a TV series of Harry Potter, and they've started by race swapping the best described character
No,
in
yeah.
the book. And
Oh,
they-
Snape. Yeah.
Can't
Yes,
talk about
they're
that
trying
enough, can
to-
we?
They're trying to replace Alan Rickman with an actor whose name is, I believe, from Papa Essiedu, which will tell you all you need to know. Nothing against the actor at all. All you
That's the
need to
choice
know
they
is
made, and
they-
that's
they
the money
chose
they'll
those.
lose. Yeah, choice they make,
Yeah.
money they lose. It's just how it is. Nobody wants
No,
changing characters in a.
Oh,
beloved
it's kind of
story.
like the some company just signed Meghan Markle to do a new podcast.
Oh,
I mean, it's like wasting money.
yeah.
Oh well, Michelle Obama's doing one, and she only
Okay.
got I think 17,000 views over
Yeah.
3 episodes. I mean, those are nerd father numbers. I
take
mean,
wow.
You know, for a
called it right
novice
out.
like
I like-
myself, I'm pretty happy to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how's your show doing, Father Apple?
I don't have one,
Oh, there you go.
but the show I do with my brother has quite a few on the Horus Heresy podcast.
Is he monetized yet?
I don't think they're interested in that, but
The Horus Heresy. We're talking Warhammer now.
Actually, that's probably a larger. That's probably getting on to be a larger franchise.
He wouldn't
Then-
want me. I'm gonna.
yeah, they actually
order of
just
the chaos
released
regime.
they just released an announcement for a 30K role playing game. So you'd play members of the Broken Legions coming off of the Horus Heresy and the Drop Site Massacre,
Oh yeah.
and you play a group of Centurions who are putting together a ragtag force to go attack Horus's forces on their way to the to Holy Terra.
It's hold on. Are you telling me
What's a
they're putting
ragtag?
together a ragtag fleet heading for the ancient home of humanity, known only as Earth?
Yeah, you got it.
You're telling me it's Battlestar 30K?
Isn't that amazing?
Now, explain to me the
Yeah.
definition of ragtag. I like to have people explain these old terms.
Well, I don't know where it came from, but usually a ragtag mean that you would stitch something together from a bunch of rags
Yeah.
Okay.
to make something new. And so after the Drop Site Massacre, there were like 4 legions that were nearly destroyed. So they were not to full legion strength. And they would have to come together to build a fighting force. So they might be of different legions working
I've-
together that they
I've-
didn't normally do.
Okay.
I've got some of the books on that because I started trying to collect the
Apparently I'm
Raven
ragtag. Oh well.
Yeah.
books. Because I know they were. I can't remember, but because there's several of them that are actually making their way back, and I must admit, I like 40K. I like making the models and this. I was never massively into the lore, but it's interesting lore.
I got into
I
because of the
know.
models. I liked painting the models and playing
Well,
the game, Archer. I feel you.
They
There's a lot to
took-
absorb.
they took from a lot of other IPs. So
Hmm.
Dune features very heavily, and other IPs from the time, but they were really good at monetizing all that stuff and making it in a way that people found it accessible.
Well,
So, I mean,
the
how long did you wait for there to be Dune miniatures? You know,
yeah, yeah.
have there ever been?
Well,
Not that I know of.
the
Maybe in the
only
game.
way to we all know the only way to deal with Tyranids is to nuke them from orbit. Not that they copy the Tyranids from anywhere in particular, but
I think that was Aliens.
Well,
exactly.
so Robert Heinlein, Starship Troopers, that
Oh,
figures
yeah.
also in 40K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, it's funny in that movie, I just watched it the other day, that the first assault they do, they just drop ship a whole bunch of Marines in there without even thinking. And I'm like, all the technology in the world, you guys go across space, and nobody thought, like, the second battle plan was to glass the planet and blow up all the bugs and then send in the Marines?
Well,
Okay.
Hey,
Okay,
so I gotta
right.
ask. Whoops, this was something different. I was going to show eventually, but the
Oh, there you go.
SpaceX rocket's going. But the
Wow.
thing I was going to mention is, are you familiar with Iron Sky?
Yeah, I tried
I-
watching it. It was so dumb I couldn't finish
Yeah,
it.
I
think
loved
I've
it.
seen-
But back to your
Just-
previous point, Justin, sending one nuke is really cheap. You can't sell a bunch of arms and guns and ammo with the battle's already won.
Yeah.
So sometimes
I-
to make your money, you have to send a lot of troops into battle, even if
True.
you know they can't win it.
It's very true.
at the risk of trying to very carefully monitor myself when I go off for the next 3 hours, Starship Troopers probably still my favorite book of all time.
It is good.
What isn't always necessarily obvious unless you follow it carefully is that when you start the film, you're starting in media res. You start the film with a battle, which is how the book starts. I don't know if you ever read the book. If you haven't read the book,
I don't read.
do not come back until you've read Starship Troopers. Go away. I revoke your credentials as a nerd and a sci-fi fan until at the
Everything
very
was in the
least,
movie theater.
if-
We didn't see books.
if you want an extra credit, then come back and tell me you've read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress as well. And I'll let you back in.
I have to play my trump card is I grew up with an issue where I couldn't retain information from reading books. I had a terrible time in school, so I never
Wow.
I was really deprived because I couldn't enjoy a novel. I couldn't pick up a novel. I tried when Chris Claremont did a novel called First Flight back when I started reading X-Men. I tried to read that, and the only thing I can remember out of that entire book was the love scene between the two characters. I can't remember what happened in the book. I couldn't tell you. So yeah,
Audiobooks
I missed
are
out on a
available.
lot of novels, which is why I like audiobooks.
No, I said
What kind of
audios are
Starship
available.
Troopers audiobook?
There is.
Oh yeah, they're all going to be.
Yay.
Well, no, the thing is, it's close to the book. I could go on for hours about Starship Troopers. The biggest joke of all is that Paul Verhoeven wanted to make an anti-fascist movie, couldn't get far past the first chapter of the book, let someone else read the book, and then made one of the best pro right-wing movies of all time. If
Yeah.
you follow it. But
Yeah,
it
it
just-
definitely crosses that border into the whole fascism. Everybody perfect, kind of the blonde hair, blue eyes, type
yeah,
of thing.
except then you
Everybody's
tu-
beautiful in that
except-
movie.
Except then you turn around and say, okay, fine, yes, it's a dystopian fascist nightmare. Except that
Sounds amazing.
except that let me think. It's got the lowest tax rate in human history. The big argument between Johnny and his dad is that his dad wants him to go into business and not go into military service. And the first thing that you see in the film is a supposedly fascist authoritarian government showing live action from a battlefield and on live TV showing the battlefield death figures. Yeah, right. But no,
Yeah, I guess that doesn't track. You think if it was a totalitarian
No,
regime like that, they would cover all that up and make
Yeah,
it seem like we're
exactly.
winning all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost exactly the opposite. Heinlein was trying to just. The weird thing is, if I remember right, Heinlein wrote. I think he wrote Starship Troopers coming out of writing. Oh, what's the hippie one?
The hippie one.
Yeah. There's a bit. Grok.
Asking me about novels isn't going to get you anywhere. You'll have to ask those two.
Someone will put it up
Yeah,
in a minute. It was.
I'm just going to
big-
play this in the background. There's no
big-
sound, but this is a
big-
novel that. Go ahead.
A big thick one about a guy who's born on Mars and humans born on Mars and adopted by Martians. And I can remember just about everything about it except the name of the flipping book. But it's the one that it is credited with kind of creating hippies. It will come to me 30 seconds after the stream's finished, probably. And you either write that before or after Starship Troopers. It's completely different ideas. But Starship Troopers is supposed to justify service, not anything else. But the thing is, it's the reason for that, Justin, is that they start off, that's the first battle, then they go back, and then they fight after that, so they get better.
Well, thinking of dystopian, I mean,
This
it's
is
one of
an
the
old-
things.
That looks very sci-fi.
Yeah, but anybody ever watched the remake they did on Peacock?
I was about, yes, I started watching it. I couldn't get into it. I know the rabbi's a
Oh.
big fan of it.
That's
I
where all those
start-
classic Star Trek costumes went to after the first movie.
Yeah.
Look, they even got the A on them.
But yeah, I mean, it's cheesy, it's dated, but it's still pretty
That's-
good.
I
I read the
think
book and then I watched the movie.
Yeah, I think Brave New World is the only one of the big ones. No, Brave New World and Animal Farm I've read. I don't think I've not read 1984.
You not read? Oh wow, that's one I read a few times.
1984. But yeah, I saw the new bit, but as I said, like a lot of I couldn't get beyond about the first or second episode. But I said, I know other people. I know for the Rabbi, for example, I know he really liked it. He really enjoyed the remake.
Hmm.
But I just want that. I just want a T-shirt that says, "Dear Hollywood, please stop making all my dystopian nightmares come true."
Yeah, but the fun thing is, I am looking for those type of books because I enjoy that type of stuff. So
Oh yeah.
this was the book I'm currently reading,
The
which
seventh
is
day.
basically a novel about the week before World War III.
Oh,
Let me see
my
if I can. Let me see if I can bring it up. the
Oh,
back
so it's
cover.
about modern day.
Let's see.
Can you read the expert? I think it's a.
Yeah, I'll just read it. It's basically a detailed minute-by-minute accounting of man's last week on Earth, originally published in Germany in 1957. So, I mean, this book is at least 70 years old, not bad shape.
The
On
bit-
the first day, Trump's order to make monster trucks was finished as all of the rednecks armed their trucks with machine guns.
Did you hear that he's going to try to cancel all taxes for people making under 150,000 a year?
No, I hadn't.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cancel all taxes.
But Justin,
Send us a
that'll help
check.
you because your wife now got a new job or something. So
You know,
maybe
and we're not sure what bracket she ends up in, but we are getting a refund this year. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Snorty. The bit that, oddly enough, the bit that I mainly remember from Brave New World is where they're touring the reproductive center, and there's a bit the bit that sticks in my mind is there's a bit where they're programming the deltas. I think it's the deltas
hmm
in vitro.
Right.
And they're thinking about, I'm so glad I'm a Delta. I don't have to make all these decisions, where they're programming the mind to be content with. I'm thinking, do you know what? The really horrifying thing is, I'm not certain that's automatically a bad thing because you're programming people to be happy. But then I grew up 30 years ago, I read that. So,
I found the article.
off
But it's-
topic. That smells like a new car.
but I think the good thing is that it's like that. It's things like what good books like that do is what Starship Troopers does, what Brave New World does, what Moons of Harsh Missiles. It makes you think. You don't necessarily have to agree to Moons of Harsh Mysteries. One I always recommend. It's got some really interesting discussions on the nature and the format of government.
hmm
Because one of the characters is a political science professor. It is, I believe, it's also credited with. I'm not sure if it's actually credited or not with coming up with the idea of a computer bug.
Maybe they need to start doing some of those books in schools for kids growing up, as opposed to what they've
Yes.
been reading is
Yes.
books about different types of government and how they affect the populace.
Yeah. My brother Eric was just asking me about That Hideous Strength, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
third,
Yes,
the
Lewis,
third
I've
book in
never
the
read
space
those.
trilogy. It's amazing.
It is. I actually
Yeah.
have all three of them on audio.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it's funny. This kind of covers that too. Invincible, the story where they have that one alien race that thinks they're better than everybody, so they could. Doesn't matter what you want; they have no respect for life. They just conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that hideous strength is about King Arthur, right? King Arthur kind of comes. It's his descendant, and then Merlin encounters him after a
No,
long
that's
sleep.
no, Father. That's Camelot 3000, the 1980s comic series.
Well,
I'm
that
thinking of.
too. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that hideous strength, if I remember, is the journey to Venus and Mars.
Yeah.
The
But
C.S. Lewis.
yeah.
Mm.
But there's so much, all those guys writing at that time were just reflecting on how these totalitarian governments are very fragile if you just confront them. You just have to be brave. And that's so true. In all of these dictatorships that have fallen, it's because the people just stood up and said, enough is enough. We've got to do something different. And they just do it themselves.
That has been my argument against helping other nations for my entire life. As you look at what's the one nation that's free, what's the one nation that has the most power, what's the one nation that has been the greatest? America, because their citizens fought for it. They bled, they died, and they created something new. And you look at these other countries where we have to go in and help them, and then when it's all over, no one's actually interested in fighting anymore. And then everything kind of goes back. I mean, Iraq was that way.
I can think of one or two countries that could really do with a lot of help right now.
But what happens when we have to leave? I mean, we can't stay there all day.
I won't mention my homeland in that in that context, but
I think the problem is that there's been so much now social control that's instituted through surveillance and cameras and digital that if you go down to the courthouse to try and make a protest, you just get arrested. I was just talking about this today with Dad, that the largest military force in the world is not the U.S. government. It's the U.S. police force. And it would be up to the police to determine who wins if there's ever a revolution. And that's true in every country.
And that's why we need more citizens to sign up and serve. Police, fire, military.
There you go.
Take
And
control of your world.
once we're based, preferably.
Well, they have psych evaluations for a reason, these things.
Yeah, so the only problem is what the psych evals are actually looking for and what they actually let through.
True.
Yeah, because I think in many countries in Europe and the Isles, all those organizations have been captured.
Yes.
So,
I was just going to say, going back to the fighting authority, it just reminds me of a clip I show my kids when John Paul visited Poland in '79.
Wow.
Because that gave rise to Solidarity, which is the first domino.
Now, did the communists try to assassinate him when he went there?
I don't think they did, but they basically told the church in Poland, it's like, you want him to come, you organize everything. They're not going to do the stuff for it, the prep.
Well,
and the church in Poland did.
Is that where we got the Pope Mobile?
No.
Okay.
What was it Turkey they tried to assassinate John Paul? I
vaguely was Iraq.
No, was it? Because I know it had, but I can't remember where it was. I don't think it was in Poland.
Well, he was assassinated in St. Peter's Square, or attempted.
Well, attempted.
Oh, was it really? Wow. Was it? Okay, I stand corrected.
And that guy was from an Eastern Bloc country.
Yeah, it was.
They're all kind of running together.
Turkey.
Was it?
Yeah, it just got me thinking. I'm looking up right now. I don't know. Most people, I don't think, realize that Paul VI, somebody tried to assassinate him when he was visiting the Philippines in the early 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was Mehmet Ali Agca.
Yeah.
But he was, I think, the plot originated in Bulgaria. I think the communists didn't want to be tracked back to Russia, so they told the Bulgarians to do it, and then they hired this Turk. So it was all these different levels.
Yeah, I thought there was a Turkish connection somewhere in there. Yeah,
I will. Here, I'm bringing up a book that Tom Clancy actually wrote a book about that involved the assassination attempt of John Paul, called Red Rabbit.
Oh, what? No, I read quite a few of Tom Clancy's early John Ryan novels, but I sort of, like a lot of them, I think I gave up at some point.
This was actually, this is one of those that came out, like, I think it was my first year in the seminary. I remember reading it, but it was after he had become president and everything. This was one of the first novels where they jumped back into time before he became what he is. And it's basically trying to help a Soviet agent escape from East Germany. Long story short, there's something about the assassination attempt of John Paul in it. It plays a part of it.
Hey, remind me, is he the one that wrote The Hunt for Red October?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, those novels were an investment.
The shows are better.
What was it? The
Movies are
Sum
better.
of All Fears, I think, is probably the first one I ever read, and that's like 1,000 pages easily.
Yeah, which is because they filmed about 4 of them, I think, and I think they had two or three different actors playing.
Well,
Jack
they
Ryan.
had Harrison Ford for the first 3, and then they
Oh, right.
did Ben Affleck for the Sum of All Fears, which was not really that
Is-
good of a movie.
Is
John
that the one in South
Krasinski is doing
America?
very well. John Krasinski is doing very well in that series. If you haven't watched it on Prime,
No, I
it's
haven't.
Yeah,
really good. It's really good. He does a great job.
Because I keep because that one there's also isn't there an earlier Jack Reacher series out there with
Well, Tom Cruise did a couple of
Focus,
movies,
yeah.
and then they didn't go very far, mostly because
right.
my wife hated the fact that they had someone small like Tom Cruise
Yeah, I
playing
was
Jack
gonna
Reacher.
I
Yeah,
can't
She
remember.
that
did.
was
She's like, that ain't Jack
ridiculous.
Reacher. But the Jack Reacher they got now would scare me in a room.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's doing a great job. But the Jack Ryan series, if you want that Tom Clancy, style,
I might have to try
it's
that out,
really
yeah.
good. It's the
Yeah.
first season especially is really good. It even addresses the fact that they found it like at one point the government said they were going to start monitoring video game communications, and what we found out was the terrorists were communicating with each other through video game chat rooms because they weren't monitored.
Mhm.
In some countries,
There
they
we
use
go.
Minecraft. Minecraft, you can publish entire books and leave them in the Minecraft world that to let third world countries who can't get to those things, like
Wow.
books that they're not allowed to read, they can go on Minecraft and they can read those books.
Yeah, in the
Wow.
Minecraft library. Yeah.
here's tiny Tom Cruise.
Oh, those teeth.
But
Oh, and
no, I
that's-
guess I got to start wrapping up because, like I said, I have a sick call. I have to go
So
make.
I just have one thing to announce, and I don't know if I sent you guys this picture, but I went to a thrift store last week to look for comic books,
You
and I
did.
found a relic of Maria Goretti.
No, you didn't send that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll send you the picture. It was on the shelf for $7.
Oh,
Just
gee.
that was the stand. I think one of our parishioners had died who had a relic. The family just put it in a box and donated it, and I just happened to be there on the right day.
Wow.
So what is it exactly?
So Maria Goretti was a martyr,
Oh,
and
yeah,
she was
okay.
canonized in 1950. The young
And
man
her
who,
murderer was present for the canonization.
because
Wow.
she forgave him. She was like 11 years old.
Mhm.
He wanted to lie with her, and she said no, and he stabbed her 14 times. On her deathbed, she forgave him, and then appeared to him in a vision in his jail cell and forgave him.
Mhm.
And he converted. And after jail, he became a monk. And in 1950, he was in St. Peter's Square with her parents
Mhm.
to watch the beatification.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I got
Yeah.
a relic of her at the thrift store the other day.
Wow. 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 What a way to end the show today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maria
So-
Goretti, pray for us.
definitely. I did get to see her body when I went to Rome 7 years ago. I made a trip down to Anzio, where Grandpa was during the war.
How,
then the
how,
next-
how big was she?
Well, it's kind of like John Neumann in Philly. It's wax covering.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it wasn't really big, but
It's moments
Anyway.
like these. I'm going to confess to my friend Priest here. It's moments like these where my humor sensor just has no. I have to like bite my lips. Like you
filter.
said, I went and saw her body, and I went, "Was she hot?" That's where my brain went. I'm like, "What are you
That's
doing?"
11 years old.
Alessandro
Justin,
thought
she's
so.
11.
I know. It was just automatic. It didn't
No,
matter,
but that,
the
no,
details didn't matter.
that's fair because that's in a lot of the discussions. Is Alessandro was smitten
Yeah.
by her beauty, and he couldn't stay away, so that was his problem.
Yeah.
I apologize to the world and my father. And
Well, with that, I got to run. So I thank you guys for joining me, and we'll do it again 2 weeks because next week I have stations for the kids at this time.
Right.
So we'll be seeing you. With that, we're heading.
Still an hour early
we'll be-
my time, I think.